Paul Manafort is sentenced to a total of 7 and 189 years in prison for. Jackson pushed back on defense attorneys' repeated assertions that Manafort was mere collateral damage in the special counsel investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 presidential campaign. This defendant is not public enemy number one, but he's also not a victim either, Jackson said. There's no question. The question of whether anyone in the Trump campaign conspired or colluded with the Russian government was not presented in this case, she said, so for Manafort's attorneys to emphasize that no such collusion was proven, she said, is a non sequitur. She added that the assertion may not even be accurate because the special counsel probe is not over, and she found that Manafort lied to investigators about issues at the heart of their investigation. It's not appropriate to say investigators haven't found anything when you lied to the investigators, she said. Manafort, 69, faced as much as 10 more years in prison Wednesday after pleading guilty to conspiracy to defraud the United States by illegally lobbying in Ukraine and hiding the proceeds overseas, then encouraging witnesses to lie on his behalf. He apologized to the judge from a wheelchair to all those negatively affected by my actions, acknowledging that he did not express such regret when sentenced days ago by Judge T.S. Ellis III for bank. Let me be very clear, I accept responsibility for the actions that led me to be here today, and I want to apologize for all I contributed to the impacts on people and institutions. While I cannot change, he added that 9 months in solitary confinement after being jailed when accused of witness tampering gave him new self-awareness. Jackson said Manafort's crimes were not just a failure to comply with some pesky regulations but lying to the American people and the American Congress. It is hard to His motivation, she added, was not to support a family, but to sustain a lifestyle that was ostentatiously opulent and extravagantly lavish. More houses a family can enjoy, more suits than one man can wear. But she agreed with Ellis in Alexandria that sentencing guidelines in the case were excessive. She said that prosecutors questioned whether Manafort was capable of such change, depicting him as a mastermind of a conspiracy in which he was paid $50 million over more than a decade by a Russian-backed politician and party in Ukraine, and Oleg Deripaska, a Russian oligarch close to Russian President Vladimir Putin. His work was corrosive to faith in the political process, both in the United States and abroad, prosecutor Andrew Weissman said. He led a sophisticated scheme to avoid a duty all Americans have to pay their taxes, Weissman said, hiding wealth in 30 foreign bank accounts containing more than $50 million for his work for the government of Ukraine and Deripaska. Manafort defense attorney Kevin M. Downing said his client is genuinely remorseful and has already endured a media frenzy that few other defendants in this country have faced. Downing said Jackson dismissed that argument, telling Manafort, saying "I am sorry I got caught" is not an inspiring call for leniency. The investigation into Manafort predated special counsel Robert Mueller's 2017 appointment, and it wasn't the special counsel's office that made Manafort lie to investigators, she said. Manafort himself asked for mercy on more personal grounds, telling Jackson he is the sole caregiver to his 66-year-old wife. "She needs me." Jackson acknowledged Manafort's generosity and care for his family and other causes, calling them commendable, and said she did not discount that she did not know everything that there is to Paul Manafort, or will be to him. She said his age, the money he's forfeited, and the fact that his finances and career were in tatters minimized the chances he would offend again. The judge ruled earlier this year that Manafort breached his plea deal by. Jackson found that Manafort's lies included matters material to the Mueller probe, including interactions with his longtime Russian aide in Ukraine, Konstantin Kilimnik, whom the FBI assessed to have ties to Russian intelligence. Kilimnik has denied having connections to Russian intelligence and is believed to be in Russia. He was indicted with "those lies," she said, tainted any cooperation he may have genuinely offered. So was he spinning the facts beforehand to get a good deal, or was he spinning the facts afterward to protect other people? Jackson asked. Manafort's convictions stem from his earlier work in Ukraine. Manafort joined Ellis in the Eastern District of Virginia last week, appeared moved by Manafort's claims, sparking a public backlash by that recommended a sentence of about 2 decades in prison. "I think it's excessive," he said of those guidelines. He's lived in other. The second sentencing will cap a legal saga that began in October 2017, when he and his longtime employee and campaign deputy Rick Gates became Gates and lying. Manafort faced 2 federal trials because he exercised his option to keep the tax and bank fraud charges in the state where he lived. At trial in Virginia in August, a jury found him guilty on 8 counts and deadlocked on 10 others. But Manafort admits this is a developing story that will be updated.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.